Alright, we're getting ready here.
Oh my gosh. Alright, maybe I'll put that out there. I'm going to grab that one.
Well, I think that new network is helping.
Is it working?
It's a lot less latency. It's still not fabulous. We still might have to land it in, but...
There's not enough room ever. There's never enough room. Might as well just start it whenever you want.
Alright, I'm starting Instagram right now.
Instagram's starting right now.
You are now live on Instagram.
Live on Instagram. You caught me. She surprises me. You. Sneaks right up on me. I haven't even had a chance to do my hair this morning. Hi everybody, welcome back to DavidAustinGallery.com. I'm David Austin, that's Kristen over there. And this is one of our midweek live painting sessions, which will then be uploaded as a recorded live painting session. And you can go back and make comments and review comments, and you can check out links and things that Kristen will add. Lots been going on. It's crazy around here right now. It's so busy. There's so much going on. It's just nuts, and it's actually going to warm up from the single digits in Fahrenheit this week. I'm looking outside, and it's gorgeous. The lake is still frozen white, but, you know, it'll thaw eventually.
Yeah.
So we have so much going on, don't we?
Yeah.
We got a lot going on. So today's theme, though, I was talking with somebody this morning, messenger back and forth, and it kind of triggered something with me of how to let go to create. And so that's one of the things we're going to do today. And we're going to make a couple big announcements shortly as well, which are huge announcements for us. Really, really super exciting. But I'm going to create on this 36 by 36 inch canvas today. I've got a backup piece of paper here for slop material that comes out. So we're going to create on this. But what we're going to talk about today, and we're over there on we're on 3 platforms, I think, right now, right?
Yep.
Again, you're insane. I love you so much, Kristen, but you're insane. So, it's not enough just to run on one platform for her. She has to challenge herself repeatedly every day, every second. It's really impressive. Definitely married up with you. So, what's going to happen is we're going to talk about how to get past a certain point. What did I title it today?
Letting go, pushing past creative blocks.
That's what it was. Did you guys get that?
I wrote it down already for them.
She wrote it down, good. So the conversation was, you kind of get to a point where in the studio you get there and you're like, I just don't want to be here. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to eat bonbons on the couch and watch my favorite show on Netflix and binge watch. And that's so easy to do. And that happened to me twice this morning. Twice. And the only reason I'm down here again for the 3rd time is because Kristen said we're doing a live to talk about exactly this issue. And so we're going to paint and try to move past that point. And if you have conversations on suggestions how to get past writer's block, creative block, because it is a writer's block, right? Then maybe we can help each other, But there's a certain point you get to when you're working, and you need to just push a little bit past that, because that's when the magic happens. And she's going to give you a little tour around a couple different paintings that are in process, one that's pretty much done and one behind your camera there that was the one that kind of struck home to me, because that, as chaotic as that is, that was definitely one of those pivotal moments where you push past that point of, I want to just stop and be lazy. So we're not going to be lazy today, and you're going to paint with me, right? Is anybody painting with me today?
I don't know yet.
Somebody said they were going to paint with me today.
It was
You
Bella.
better have your paints out. I know who you are. So here's the really exciting thing. We're going to go ahead and announce it now. Kristen's set up. She's going to have a link and so forth in the recorded version. So when you go to the recorded versions of this video today, there's going to be a link for a sign up to pre-purchase, so to speak. Pre-purchase your condo now. So we're going to have brand new, our very own signature line of art supplies, because everybody's asking about where we get our stuff and how do we get our stuff and things. And we're going to have our own supplies of the things that we're doing that you can get from us. And it's going to be on par with all of the major art supply houses, including Amazon, and it's really super excited. And we're going to have, in addition to some individual items that we use frequently, like the tempera paint sticks. Those have been really popular. I love using them. I'm going to use them today, most likely on this. The other thing that we're going to have is a package called Get Started Now. And that's going to have a lot of things that I do right now on this 36 by 36. And the other one we're going to have is called the Finish Line. And that's how I finish the paintings and how you can go back in and do the detail work at the end. So those are the two things that we're going to be coming out with. And you're going to get those supplies in 30 days or less. But we're just doing a pre-sale kind of situation, or at least a pre-interest. If you're at least kind of interested in the materials, sign up for the email so you can get notifications about that.
Yes, we will be sending to Spain. We've checked. We are allowed to send it through the mail
Yes,
to you.
we checked just for you in Spain. We did today, actually. And we confirmed that we can do that. We just shipped the painting to Canada, and we learned a lot from that recently. Some things have changed. So anyway, here's the 36 by 36. Let's pop it. We know we love this sound. Everybody loves this sound. Wait, here's the zipper. That's the zipper sound. Unzipping creativity. So believe it or not, I've only had 2 cups of coffee today. But I try to get, you guys fire me up out there, you know. You get me all excited about doing this stuff, and it makes me keep going. So 36 by 36, this is a low profile canvas. It's 0.75 inches. I don't know what that is in centimeters. Looks like about 2 centimeters. I slid over my paint, my shoe rack with the paints on it today. Let's get the plastic out of there before I injure myself. So I'm going to try and do a few different weird things today, just to kind of show you. But we're going to also be talking about loosening up and how we do that. And since I'm going to work with a lot of different materials, I'm going to use the gloves.
By the way, our supplies come with gloves.
The supply, yep, the kits are coming with some gloves. Comes with a little towel in it. You'll have your special trowel. Paint sticks are definitely going to be in it, and some other goodies. And this is all our own signature line, and this is super exciting.
Been working on it for a while.
We've been toying with this, and we've been kind of hinting at it, and we're probably a little premature mentioning it right now, but I don't care. I'm so excited to do it. But we've had so many requests of, how do I get it overseas? Where do I get it overseas? You know, and art supplies are hard to get and so forth. So we're going to provide that to you guys, and again, reasonably competitively priced with everybody else. So what I've got going on over here, I don't know if I'm going to try and work close to everybody today so she doesn't have to keep moving the camera. This is actually from Liquitex, which is made either in England or France normally, I believe. But it's a acrylic medium. Super heavy gesso. Super heavy gesso. See how heavy that is? It's stuck right on my palette knife. I'm going to make some texture up here, because I'm going to do a little something with you in regards to that, if I can find what I need.
And to all of our Twitch and YouTube viewers, due to the wonderful blizzard in most of America, our webcam video didn't arrive, so I apologize for not having picture-in-picture. Yeah.
The red card, we were supposed to get that today, weren't we?
Yeah, it was supposed to come. We were going to have picture-in-picture. It will be here by next live.
So this is a super heavy gesso, and I like to use this as kind of a paint too. But it's a way to get some texture in, and I'm going to be mostly working right now wet into wet because of the time constraints, clearly. Because we're going to be on about an hour.
Price point was requested.
On the what?
On the supplies.
On the supplies. We're going to work on that, but let's see, the main kit, the Get Started kit, what was that, Kristen, about?
Without the charcoal chalk?
Yeah, the normal. That's
Yeah,
what it's
yeah,
going to
yeah.
have. It's going to have these newer ones right here. This little square.
$45.
About
for a kit.
$45 to $55, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it
Looking at my
depends on the
shipping rates.
shipping and some of the other costs. And then the smaller, the Get Finished or the finished one was going to be a little bit different than that. So we're going to be competitive with the big boxes. The difference is with us, you know, you get to come and enjoy it with us, and you get to apply what we're working on here. And if I'm a little bit out of it today, I apologize. Again, I'm operating on. I got up. I don't know who else was up. Who else was up at about 5 this morning, our time, which would have been about. Well, I guess you were up if you were in Germany, because that would be about noon. Almost
Anybody
noon.
else up ridiculously early today?
I know some of my friends were, because I always talk to them in the morning.
She wants the finished one.
The finished one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the finished one's going to be really exciting. There's going to be some markers in it, some different pencils. I'm pretty sure we've got a really nice varnish, but I'm still trying to decide the varnish. So I'm just moving this palette that I really want to show you what happens when I do something here, but I got to get some of this on. Let's get this a little thicker up here.
Check you too.
So I'm pushing it into the canvas. Most canvas comes already pre-gessoed, but a lot of people will gesso, and some even will sand. If you want a really smooth surface, you got to go back in and gesso the piece and then sand it down to get a really smooth surface. I'm deliberately adding some texture here. So I'm deliberately going in and making some texture. And by how I'm doing that is I'm laying it out and I'm just gently gliding. You can see gliding the palette knife over the top, or in this case, this is a giant palette knife, I guess is the way I would describe it. And if we're all lucky, maybe I'll make a happy little tree or something. You know, it's not a live session without me referring to
Barbara.
my inspiration, Mr. Bob Rossi.
Okay, there's no E. It's just Ross. Just Bob Ross.
I always pronounce it that
I don't know why you
it's
always add the E to that.
It's my thing. So you can also sgraffito some stuff into this. Carve in. And if you got a really sharp, newer palette knife, you got to be a little careful because it will cut through this canvas. And I have to admit, Kristen, I wasn't quite as prepared for this as I thought I would be. So I don't have the liquid version of what I want to pour on this.
Oh gosh.
So I'm going to punt. I'm going to see which of these are really fluid, and that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to let that set up a little bit, and I'm going to actually work. I really love this concept of windows, and so I'm going to do a little bit of that today, a little bit of window work. Let's just do this real quick. And this is just a watered down paint that I have. So this is a mixture. This is almost, basically, I clean my brushes in it. And it's just water and a mixture of gesso and other paints that are in there. So that is going to define that section a little bit. And over here, I'm still not used to working on this side. So I'm going to wet it down again, wet into wet technique. And I'm going to take the charcoal next. I'm going to do some work in that. Goes over here. I normally work over on that side, so that's why it's confusing to me sometimes. Okay. Again, just going with a garden motif, just because it's super easy for me to do without really thinking about it, because I've done so many of these kind of garden motif things with the irises and things. But you know how it quickly can go to a very abstract piece with me. And we'll show you some of the work that's around me today too, right, Kristen?
Yeah.
So we're gonna go take a little tour just of some of the stuff.
So do you want to talk about our topic today?
So one of the things is letting go, right? So this gestural motions and things, you've got to remove yourself from a certain level of consciousness and letting go of the day's issues. And people talk about this in meditation, they talk about this in martial arts, they talk about this in a lot of other sports. So there's a lot of ways that people describe it. Being in the now, for example, is one way of people describing it. Well, that's fine if being in the now, except I'm thinking about all of the crap that I have to do. Is that really being in the now? Another way people describe it is being present. I describe it of getting past that block. There's like these different levels of blockages, almost like little dams that you have to get over in order to get to the next reservoir of knowledge or experience or creativity. And in order to do that, you need to, when you get that point, you need to just take a breath, relax your shoulders. Think about relaxing the shoulders, relaxing everything out, so that then you can move past that. And then my suggestion is just start making gestures on the thing. You know how to start. You put some water down on a piece of, and you just slap some stuff around, and like that. And you do something really quick and gestural. Yeah, I'm not even looking at it. I'm not looking. See, I'm not looking. Just like Austin Powers, right? And you just do some gestures, okay? And then you can go back and look at it later. But just start somewhere. You got to throw down some mark making, and that's a terminology that we use a lot of us right now. Oh, here's some paint. So I'm going to just start putting some paint on here. This is very gestural today. I'm not really trying to have a idea in place today. I'm going to work over here a little bit too today on this side. Getting old. Oh, see, I'm messing with her already.
Wow.
She's trying to talk and direct cameras. And it's hard to be in the zone sometimes when you're talking to other people, which is why I'm hesitating slightly when we talk about the concept of letting go. So the biggest suggestion I have is literally to sit down and just start doing something. And once you get past that roadblock, then it's easy. It becomes easy. Then you get in the zone, and I don't know how many of you guys know what this zone is like. But a zone is like, it's almost like you get a tingle at the top of your head, okay? And there's a lot of, we can talk about that all day long from Tai Chi and meditation and things. You got this tingle at the top of the head, and then it travels down through the body, and then you know you're in the right spot. But don't think on it too hard, because the minute you start thinking on it too hard, then you've moved yourself out of that zone. And now you're out of abstract expressionism, and now you're into conscious thought, which is fine. That's how I finish some of these paintings. And again, Kristen's going to show you some of those paintings. And we'll kind of talk a little bit about them. I think that's what we'll do, Kristen, is we'll just have a little art conversation towards the end.
She says that's what she did yesterday after 3 days of not painting.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can go through it. And here's the other part of it too, though. In order to get better at that, so it's hard at first when you first start doing that concept. It's really hard to get out of it. It can take you all day. It could take you days to get out of that slump, to get out of that creative block. But here's the key. Going back to what my dear wife says. What do you say, Kristen?
Butt in seat.
Butt in seat. You've got to put the time in, and that's why it's so important. Set the time when you're going to do something regardless. That's when you work, right? So, let's put something on here. I was going to use this as a backup, but I'm kind of enjoying what's happening over on it.
Yeah.
So I have the paint sticks, and these are the paint sticks we're going to have. They're pretty cool. You've seen us using these, but the ones that you're going to get from us are ours. They're our paint sticks you're going to get. They're going to be unique colors that I like to use a lot, that you've seen me using a lot. You're going to get newer combinations than you can get from other places. You'll be able to buy the sticks individually as well. So when you run out of a particular color, you can replace that color, whereas you can't do that in a lot of other situations. So we've got some really neat things happening there. All right, so I'm going to try to pour on. He's going crazy now. I know he is. This is not going to be... Can you hand me the water over there by any chance?
Yeah.
I think I need to thin this out. This is a little too much pigment in it, and so it's not going to...
This might be the warmest thing in here because of the sun.
Is it? Did I get you painted? Did I paint your hand just then?
You didn't, actually.
Oh, man. And then let's grab the straight pigment that's over there.
Okay.
In the Liquitex bottle. Can you
Yeah,
reach that?
see it.
See, I told you I wasn't set up entirely. Where are you? Is the camera over here?
If you stay right in the middle of that 36 inches, you're right.
I'm okay?
You're right where it's supposed to be. Welcome all of you newcomers.
So this is the... I've used them before. This is Winsor & Newton. We will have... This is going to be coming up too. We're going to have our own acrylic paints as well. Right now this is a Winsor Newton, and it's very watered down to do what I want to do right now. So remember, we put on this texture here, and we're going to actually do a little bit of poured techniques on it, and then we're going to see what it does through the rest of the day. And we're going to really observe how it reacts with the gesso that I put down, okay? So this will take some time for it to work itself
Hi,
through.
Mariam.
And here, oh hi, good to hear from you. And this is the pigment, straight pigment.
Let me just do one over.
And I'm going to put a happy little sky at the top.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Are you mocking me?
I am.
Well, it's easy to do. And then we'll put some over here on the paper so you can see what happens with that too. And that, my dear friends, is the end of that
So for
pigment.
everybody that just joined, this one here is on canvas, and this one here is on paper. So, canvas, paper, and we're gonna watch how
We're going to watch paint dry.
yes.
Well, the rest of the hour, everybody, is going to be just this with a little background music. No, I'm kidding. We'll do something else. I'm going to get ready and do a big poll on this thing. I wasn't going to do something like that, but I am. And I'm going to go back to my favorite, which is the cadmium yellow deep hue, which our kit should be coming with that as well. If not, give me a call. Oh boy. I'm so excited to have the new art supplies coming out. Part of the reason is I was having a hard time getting what I wanted consistently. Excuse me. And then the other problem was listening to what you guys out there were saying overseas. And we can't find this or we can't find that, and this is in short supply. So we're going to try and gather the goods that we use and be able to ship them directly to you. So you don't have to go out and try to find them. And I think that's pretty darn
From like
exciting.
11 different suppliers.
Yes, 11 different suppliers. That's exactly.
Which is what we do. I have no idea how many accounts you've had to keep track of.
Now this is the one thing that I probably will not send you.
McLennan, we hope in 30 days we should start shipping.
Yep, it may be sooner. But COVID has certainly, as many of you know, COVID is definitely a challenge of operating right now with suppliers. So that's why we're saying get on the email list. That way you're put to the front of the line, and we can work you through. So this is one of my, this is my favorite thing to do. And I'm going to actually move some of this pigment around with my hand real quick. That way when I pull this paint down here, it does something that I want it to do. Ooh, that's cold. Where's my towel? Here it is. Again, wear gloves.
Thank you, Secret of the Sun. We do have a really wonderful and blessed life. You're right.
We are pretty.
Yeah, our goal is to actually, part of these kits, the goal is for those who are overseas to be able to get it from us, because I know a lot of the larger suppliers are a little strange.
Okay, here we go. Big pull. Big pull. Dramatic. See how the yellow picks up where the paper is still dry? Oh! All over the floor.
Shabana, I'm not quite sure I understand the question. From an art perspective, I do from a metaphysical perspective.
Oh!
How to create the center of attraction, please tell.
Home.
It's 1 a.m. wherever she is. I'm guessing India?
It's a very introspective time, 1 a.m. I'm thinking.
Green, blue colors are ink or acrylic. These are all acrylic right now today.
It's acrylic. You
And
could call
straight
this.
pigment.
You could call it acrylic ink, strictly from the standpoint that it's thinned down. So all acrylic ink is essentially it's thinned down. The carriers are a little different for it all, but so I got a lot of extra paint there.
Oh, she is from India. I think you told us that last time, Shabana.
You know what? I don't have my palette. Hang on, I'm going to slip over here and grab my other favorite palette knife. We're hoping to make these available too. This is my favorite palette knife right here. It's just awesome. I hear the kiddos moving upstairs.
eye resting point. She
Oh.
wants to know how to create that space for your eye to rest on the piece.
So line, you ready guys? Line, direction, contrast, brightness, saturation, shape. Those are some of the keywords that you guys are going to be.
Let's repeat that and I'll
focusing
type them. How's that?
on. No.
I'll put it later in the notes.
I'll type it. I'll do it again. Those are the things, though, that create visual interest, and part of that is socioeconomic as well. So, somebody, for example, in a jungle in the middle of Africa, might be seeing things differently than the one that's in the middle of a savanna. So those things also affect how you view something, how you interpret it as well. So for example, I'm creating almost a sense of depth on this one because of the line direction I'm using by coming in. So we all know about like 3-point perspective, right? So that's a very basic way of creating depth, is the appearance of that. In an abstract painting, you don't necessarily have to draw a building to create 3-point perspective. You're going to use the lines like this. I just created a center point here by direction, line quality, and also color and brightness, saturation. All of those things are affecting that. And that's all bringing you right back to this spot. Now I can enhance that by adding a bright color or a really dark color in the middle to create some contrast. Almost like a little black hole in the middle, I could do that, something like that. So those are the kinds of things that create exactly what you're talking about. So that's the beginning answer to that. The next thing is practice, okay? A lot of abstract art talks about the 2/3, 1/3, which makes my wife crazy.
Yeah.
And 2/3, 1/3 is basically when you divide your canvas or your surface up into 2/3 and 1/3. And if you play with that, you divide your canvas into thirds, and then 1/3 of it becomes the difference. Well, still, how do you make that different? Well, that comes from brightness, contrast, color, shape, line, saturation of the colors, all of those different things. So if you have a highly saturated point in the middle of the canvas, and everything around it is desaturated in color, that center becomes your point of interest, okay? Now, one of the things that I work on is called discontinuous continuity, okay?
Continuous discontinuity.
Continuous discontinuity is one way. So you can play with those two words back and forth to create visual interest too. And we'll get into that in a more advanced one, maybe one of the online courses that we're building.
Well, this next question gets right into our next bullet point, which we had from earlier, which is, when do you know you're finished?
I don't know. When you figure that out, let me know. We're good. No, I think, in all seriousness, that is a very important question, because when do you know? And step one is step back from the piece. Put it away, okay? Another way to do it is to set it in the corner of the studio. I have one right over here that Kristen is going to pan to, maybe right now, over there, and she's going to get the Twitch over there. Hi, Twitch. Twitchies. What are people on Twitch called? Twitchies? No, I don't know.
I don't know.
So that piece over there, and it's bad lighting in the corner, I feel it's done right now, okay? Will it be done to me in another day or 2 or 3 or 4? Maybe not. The other aspect is, as you gain more and more experience and more knowledge, the pieces you did a year ago may not be done anymore. I have a whole pile of small paintings behind Kristen under there. There's probably 100 paintings down there, and maybe 200 if you include the paper pieces. I look at them now, I don't think they're done. So part of art, I think, is that it's always evolving. It's kind of like language. People think of language as being very sedentary, but it's not. Language isn't sedentary. It changes via how we change as social, as culture, language changes how we perceive language. I mean, look at Old English, right? Shakespearean English.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it now. Can we even understand half of that based on the context of our current times? Can you? I don't know.
No.
Can you understand that anymore?
It's references to a culture.
So it's yes, it's culture-based references. So
I was reading a thing the other day on the marble statues that we all, revere. And they were saying, well, what people don't realize is originally those were painted the most gaudy, ugly, horrible colors.
Yes.
It just all washed off over time.
And now it's the washed off, the patina of
we're
time.
reacting to as a society, but they would have been like, it's not done.
Yeah, it looks terrible. It needs to be. You need to repaint that.
So part of knowing it's done maybe is just being you, right? And where you are is space and time.
Let's face it. All art is, if it's considered art, the debate of what art is and isn't is ongoing. And Lord knows I had my share of it back in school 25 years ago. What is art and what isn't art? and I get kind of frustrated with it a little bit nowadays because. I have had this conversation over and over, but the bottom line is it's contextual. It's within a certain context, and what is art evolves, and even what's considered beautiful evolves. I mean, look at back. What was her name? The real skinny model.
Twiggy.
Twiggy. Remember Twiggy? Everybody, who remembers Twiggy? Who's of the certain age that remembers Twiggy? Anyway, so. Now we would think that is kind of sickly, at this right now. But in another couple of weeks, who knows?
Let's not get into the debate about what's art.
No, but that's what it is important though. But that's how you know it's done is contextual. It's based on what's happening right now. So your audience helps you determine if it's done or not. Honestly, everybody says, "Well, you're the artist. You decide if it's done or not." Well, yes. Well, let's be realistic.
Ask any book writer, and they'll tell you, I want to keep going. My editor will stop me and take my draft.
Yeah. So, and Kristen here is a good one to make me stop, and I don't always listen to her. She knows that, but sometimes I know that I'm onto something. I need to push past it, but I still need to talk to somebody about it. And that's where having somebody to, to
bounce it off.
Yeah, bounce it off.
Which comes around to, funnily enough,
an audience.
The other thing that we've been doing.
Yes. So the other part of this is this is so new, and we're still working on landing on terminology. What was it? What did I tell you this morning? This morning I changed it again.
The name of it?
Yeah,
Hold on.
You don't have to do the website yet, but.
No, but what did you call it?
We'll tell you in a minute. Okay, so I'm stalling a little bit because I'm doing some stuff up here. But I want to point out to you right now, you can see the pigment that I put down here is reacting, is settling and moving within this texture of the heavy gesso. And this is what's really exciting. As this dries, this becomes in a new piece every few minutes because it's settling in these little nooks and these crannies. And so I've created an environment there that isn't truly revealed until we put the pigment over the top. And you can do this technique with watercolor. You can do it with watered down acrylics like I just did. You can do it with alcohol inks. Anything you can put over it, as long as it's thin, a little bit thinner, it'll settle down into the grooves, and create its own gradients within it. And it's really fascinating. I'm not sure how much is coming through. The higher resolution one on that camera over there, the one that'll be up on YouTube, and it's on Twitch too, but YouTube specifically, that one will show you a little bit more detail on what's happening here. So anyway,
somebody's just asking, can you allow me to share some of my work with you? And that goes back to what we're trying to do.
Yes. In fact, I've encouraged that. Please send it to me. If you feel comfortable posting on your Instagram, tag me in it.
Or you can DM.
At David_K_Austin, and I will definitely take a look at it. Kristen and I both kind of handle all the communications because it's an awful lot between all the platforms we have in raising a 3-year-old and juggling an 18-year-old's opinions. So now I'm blotting out, and this is going to create some more texture. And so what I'll do on Saturday, if you check back in with me on Saturday, with us on Saturday, is we'll talk about finishing this piece. I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time on the finishing aspect of this on Saturday because, frankly, it's boring. We tried it. Everybody checked out with it, and we had like 0 people by the time I was done with that post. It was tragic. Tragic, I say. So we're probably not going to do a lot on the finishing techniques. I'll just show you some basics. But after this dries, we can go back into it and I'll show you some of that aspect. Okay? Is that a deal? Did I have another question I needed to answer?
Nope.
She's got to keep track of me. I'm just a big itsy airhead sometimes. So sometimes you can take the rag and you can blot that off on another piece. I like to work in series. If you go into our Instagram account and the profile, you're going to see a picture of the studio just within the last couple of days. And I had every surface covered. Floor, walls, I mean everything was covered with works in progress. Because one piece informs the next piece, informs the next piece. You can still work like that, even if you have only a kitchen table. Just you're going to have smaller pieces, or maybe you have a bigger piece, a 16 by 16 piece or 16 by 20, and then you'll have a bunch of 8 by 8s laid out, and then you can do the 16 by 20. But then you go and you do something on the little 8 by 8s. Let your work inform the next piece of work. I think that's another way. That's another really great way to work past those blocks that you get. Is to don't just focus on that piece, because if you focus only on that piece, you get tied to it, and you get there's another term for it, tongue-tied almost. You get tongue-tied in create. Is that a thing in create? I think I just made that up. Tongue-tied in creativity. Anyway, I would strongly recommend having multiple pieces. So I'm going to bleed some of this over. This is awfully thick line here, and I want to fade that line off. So I'm going to use my handy dandy sprayer. By the way, we are going to be selling also in the kit. In the Get Started kit, you're going to get the really nice sprayer that we have. I don't even have one handy because we're saving everything for inventory. So I'm using my cheap one here. But the problem with the cheap one is that the spray is not very fine. It just kind of goes all over and it's not really controllable. You can see it just spraying it all over. So that's going to help by saturating the areas around it. We'll pull the pigment into the places that don't have any pigment. Soften the edges and create a very ethereal kind of look to the paint, right? So that's kind of fun. I'm going to do this. So this is a little different technique too, because I've been doing a lot with the palette knives, as you know. A lot of you have been playing along with me. And this is more of a different approach. More ethereal. Softer. It's a kinder, gentler type of painting. I don't know if that's really a thing. Okay, so let's go back into this one over here. We're going to get one of our handmade paint sticks. I'm going to go with a dark purple this time. A nice dark purple, one of the brand new ones. It's not even used yet. So, creating kind of a linear effect, even though these are random strokes because of the color and the fact that the randomness follows. This is that part of that continuous discontinuity. I've created a figure-ground relationship. This is becoming a bit of a figure because of the contrast with the color, brightness, compared to the background around it. And then we've created this line down the center that also helps to create a visual interest. Now it's a very strong point in this piece. It also then competes with this one and this one because of the brightness of these. So this is what I'm talking about, that you can play with that imagery. And all I'm doing is just using the heel of this. It's got a really nice textured little grooves on the back so that you can actually create some texture in the paint as you dig through it. The nice thing about these tempera paint sticks is that you can build layer on layer on layer on layer on layer. You can use them with the acrylics as well. And then the fun part is you can dig through, literally dig through the layers. And with the tempera, you can also add water, and that'll soften it, and you can scrape off sections too. So the versatility of these are amazing, these paint sticks that we're now offering. And I'm hoping to do, we will, it's really slippery over here. You should see it. It's just a green mess on the floor. So if I suddenly disappear, you know I fell into my slop over here. Does that make sense? Did I make any sense in that at all, Kristen, just then?
I think so, but I'm operating 3 platforms and 2 cameras. So
Oh, come on, you can
my
do more.
attention is a little split.
You can do more.
Did you want to talk about the transition time sometimes that you have to go through?
The what now?
Transition time. Yeah. Funny.
See, my shoulders are creeping up in my neck. And honestly, tenseness in your body will inhibit creativity too. So being able to roll it, take the breath in, remember to breathe when you're creating, because I find that I hold my breath sometimes and that builds up over time. Actually, the lack of oxygen will affect your brain and you're no longer creative anymore. You're lucky if you're standing.
Somebody wants to know how to set the paint sticks.
Set them?
Mm-hmm.
You mean after the fact?
Yeah.
Okay, so tempera is a water-based paint. Tempera's been around forever, right, guys? I mean, we all have heard of it at one time or another. Because it is water-based, it's highly affected by its environment. So the thing to do is you're going to want to fix it first. And that's the other thing that we're going to try to offer is a non-toxic fixative for you guys, too, that hopefully will be in the finish. We're still working on that particular element.
Yeah.
In the finish line box. And we'll also be selling that, too. So our goal is things that are not going to kill you when you create artwork.
Things that won't kill you. But anyways,
Things that won't. That's a good tagline. Write that one
things
down.
that won't kill you. All right, then.
Artwork that won't kill, or art supplies that won't kill you. Something like that. That's funny. So you do have to do a fixative on it, because any varnish that you put over the top of that, if it's not fixed first, it's going to bleed. So even the fixatives are not 100% going to be assured from pulling that off. So when you do the varnishing, so you're going to do, in this case we're doing acrylics, right? And tempera paints, watercolors. The easiest way is a spray varnish, and unfortunately there's not a lot of really environmentally friendly ways to do a spray varnish. And there's a lot of really good ones. Grumbacher has one, Liquitex has one, Golden has one. They all have, all the major companies have a spray varnish. But you really should fix the piece first. So you do a light coating of the fix, maybe 2. If you do a lot of charcoal work like I do, or a lot of watercolor, then you're going to do a couple layers of the fix. Make sure they dry in between. If you get it too thick, it'll bleed the color out into it. After that dries thoroughly, then you can go back in with your varnish. The spray varnish is really good to do, but if you're stuck in an apartment building somewhere, you're going to have to do painted varnish. That's why you might want to add 2, maybe even 3 coats of the fixative to lock the pigment into place. And then use a very soft varnish brush, very soft varnish, and get the piece varnished. And try not to brush too much, because if you brush too much, you're going to move that pigment around. And there's an example of that on that piece over there.
Oh yeah, this one.
She's showing it on the Instagram. Sorry, guys, over there.
I'll
You should
get
be
there.
able to get there. But at the lower left-hand corner, you can see that the watercolor that I was trying to seal, I actually moved the pigment into that lower left-hand corner because the brush had picked it up. I got too aggressive with the brushing. Got it? That was a long-winded explanation. So I'm kind of stalling a little bit. I'm waiting for the pigment to work its way into this piece. And again, we're gonna go over finishing techniques later this week, just briefly. Saturdays will be a little bit of that. Oh, wait a minute. I may or may not be here Saturday. That's right. We may have to postpone that one or record it and get back to you. I have.
Could record it. I'll put it in a computer. I'll just phone.
We
phone
could,
video.
We might record it. We might have to record it. I have advanced martial arts training on Saturday.
Question: how do you shop large pieces? It's quite expensive.
Shop large pieces.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
You mean like? Can you clarify that? What language were they in? Where are they from?
Kentucky. I think it's something like I see you. I don't remember.
Shop large pieces. We're gonna have to have a little more of an explanation on that one.
Oh, ship large pieces. I have
ship.
an answer for that because I'm the
Yes,
person.
Kristen is the shipper extraordinaire.
I have one word for you. Shopify.
There's our secret on that
There
one.
is a significant and intense discount on Shopify if you have a shop there
If you have a
to
Shopify
ship
account.
large artworks.
Yep.
We saved $150 on the last piece we shipped.
Overseas.
Yeah, I mean,
That was
the
overseas.
savings on there are crazy. There's enough people on Shopify that you get to take advantage of the huge discounts that all the users get.
Now, if you're talking really large, like we shipped a 6 foot by 8 foot piece to Fort Lauderdale, and in that case we had an art shipper come and pick it up. That's an entirely different story when you're talking that big. Okay, 36 by 36. Put them in a box. You can ship them. I would put maybe some 1/4 inch luan if you can, or at the very least a couple layers of foam core. Sorry, foam core on either side of it. Wrap it, bubble it. You know, all those good things. And then, like Kristen said, do an online shipping. Even if you don't have Shopify, any of the online shipping label.
PirateShip.com is also a really great way to get a discount if you don't want to be on Shopify. Yeah, you know, I should probably put a post up about how to ship stuff.
Yeah, we hadn't had that question yet. So again, I'm looking at these to see what more I can do. A lot of times, this becomes a stopping point with the piece because I might want to let what's settling here because there's some really, really beautiful texture being created within this piece. You can see how quickly you can actually get a basic creation done. But is it done at that point? So we're circling back to that question. Is it done at this point? You know what? Sometimes it is. Sometimes you look at it and you go, yeah, I'm done. I'm out. It's perfect. I'm not touching it. But most of the time, to really carry it over to that next step, that next layer that really pushes that artwork to the next level, you need to go back and work it, doing the finishing techniques. In our case, we're going to provide some of that stuff. The finish line kit is going to have some of the things that I like to use to finish it off, whether it's different paint markers or pencil or crayons or something, you know, to create more layers, to create more depth, to create more visual interest, to define some of the things. And that's one of the joys on abstract painting, is the fact that you can go back and explore and play. You should be playing, right? So this is just a charcoal pencil, and this little white spot down here was kind of bugging me a little bit, so I'm just going to take, and it's still pretty wet, and I'm just drawing into it to create a little bit of visual interest. And it's almost plant-like. It's very organic feeling to it. And even if I draw through this really wet stuff up here, you see all the wet? You can't really see it necessarily right now, but when it dries, that will reveal itself, which is actually kind of fun.
Hey, you got some Twitch watchers.
Hey, Twitch! Very new for us, be kind.
We have another camera coming.
We're learning. The other camera is somewhere.
Is he just using gesso and paint in his crayons there? Yes, he is. That's pretty much the combination.
That's
You got it right there, Bella.
So, there's two ways I go about this. One, I may, the night before, I'll do the gesso with the texture in it, okay? The heavy body gesso. It's a heavy body gesso. That's the key to really get this texture.
Yeah.
And so I'll lay it out. I'll do the gesso the night before, and I'll come back in the morning, and then it's kind of dry, and that creates a whole nother level of texture and reaction to the paints that we're putting into it. And clearly, alcohol-based pigments are going to penetrate differently than the polymer-based ones like the acrylic, which I did mostly here, versus a straight pigment in water, which is what this one is up in here. This one is very fascinating. It's kind of looking a little bit like blue ice, you know? Like the blue ice up in the Lake Superior that happens.
Oh, that's right. That is what it
with
looks
the
like.
shifting ice that comes up. This is fascinating. I'm sorry that pigment's gone, actually, because we just used the last of it. I used the last of my favorite pigment with you guys tonight. That's how much I care.
We actually have 2 viewers on Twitch. Color
nice.
Me, or it could be YouTube. It's hard for me to know. It's all on one page.
So even now, I'm going to define it, and it's acting as a little bit of a sgraffito sort of situation where we're just carving into the piece, but at the same time, it's laying down some chalk. I can see the chalk in there too. And some of you saw today, I did a little more of a traditional drawing, just because I felt like I wanted to do it. I've been really fascinated with architecture right now. Kristen and I are working on how to design the next studio and the house. And so we've been really involved with architecture, so it's seeping into my work. Okay, this is pretty dry, so I can actually play with this a little bit.
I mean, a loose joint in this tripod driving me buggy today.
I don't know about the loose joint, but I'm sore from Monday's workout.
Ask him how he's feeling about just a touch of pink on the big one.
Yeah, you know, I was... It's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking that too. There is a touch of pink, a very tiny hole. I'm not going to be... Actually, I could get a little bit over here, and that's... So, we were talking about the... Who said that one?
Bella.
Oh, hi.
Of course,
So-
today she decides to be early.
Oh, your mom's here. Is she going to try and get back to the door? Back
No,
there?
she'll go.
She'll go up to the top? You think
Reading.
so?
Oh, hi, Mallorca, Spain.
Sorry, it's later afternoon. It's time for a scotch.
Well, it's evening there.
Here's a hot pink. This is a hot metallic pink that we're going to be in one of the kits. And we were talking about 1/3, 2/3 type things. One of the things I've been playing with is 10%. So trying to take... Yeah, she's going up to the back.
Yeah, she'll go upstairs.
Around the back, so that's good. What time is it?
It's 2:55. She's early.
She's early. She's never early.
She's never early.
Sorry, Mom, if you're listening to that. That's Kristen's mom.
Yeah.
She's still with us, thankfully. My mom, of course, as many of you know, has passed away last March. Otherwise, I'd have her in here doing the same thing.
Yeah,
fainting
she'd be in
me.
here with us.
Yeah, I miss my mommy.
Anyways, he's pink.
Anyways, so in this case, I can go at 10% on this because I got this spot over here. This is so wet that even if I did this, the pigment and the color that's here would fill right in over the top of it and would be lost. This is fairly dry here, so I actually can do something right here. And I can do kind of a gestural thing on this side, like that. And this is, for me, referencing kind of this idea of language, and it's almost a pseudo language that's being produced. I'm very interested in the narrative in the piece. And even if it's an abstract piece, I still want a narrative, a story to be told. And I don't know if that means I'm still abstract or not. It seems like I'm going to abstract narrative or something like that. I don't know. I don't even think that's a thing.
Free-form poetry.
Yeah, freeform. It's well, it's not even freeform. I mean, that's a whole nother. That's Kerouac, right? Freeform, basically.
She says that made me happy. Tell him thank you.
Oh, the pink.
Yeah.
You're welcome. It made, you know what? It made me happy too. I love creating with you guys. It's so awesome. And the love that's coming from the online is really beautiful. And we're all going to get through this together by being kind to each other and loving each other and
Creating together.
and creating together. That's really important stuff. It was a very good suggestion, and I was leaning towards something like that, but I was waiting a little bit. But this needs something too over here. We
Oh,
need
we're
to do
moving
something.
over.
So I'm going to go back to my paint sticks again. I've got the red, which is really red.
Oh, from here it looks like the weather movement of the world. Oh, I can see that. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Well, in earlier today I posted one of the paintings. I called it Earthship, and it's an abstract piece, but certainly what's happening in the world weather-wise right now. You know, last night was got as low as -5 this morning before you and Hugo were up. It's very cold. So I'm really conscious of what's happening in the weather. Now we're creating some sense of layers just based on the fact that we're putting one thing over another, right? So now we've created a little bit of layer just by doing that.
These are tempera paint sticks, which we will be selling on our website very soon.
Yep. The recorded version is going to have a link to sign up to email. So you can get on the list to get them. All right, this is going to be our signature line of products that we use, and this tempera paint sticks will be our selection of the colors that we like to use, and you'll be able to buy them individually as well as little packs, little six-piece packs. Okay, so it's pretty exciting, and I had to do it because I love using these things, and I was having trouble getting replacements for them, and so we decided to go straight to the manufacturer and get ours specially made for us. So we're really excited by this. Actually, this is a big deal for us.
You're welcome, Miranda.
So now we've created a little bit of sense of depth. We've changed the color. Remember, we were talking about contrast, creating depth. So we got a darker color, a lighter color, and this is a metallic gold. And this also will create kind of a sense of depth as well because of the reflective quality of the gold. And now I'm going to go into the threes. We were talking about how to create visual interest, and one of the simplest ways is a triangle. And so I have a triangle using the same color combination, this gold from 1, 2, 3. That's now tying this section in tighter. So I'm kind of trying to bring, again, we have line quality coming into the center, and I'm bringing my attention into this zone here, which unfortunately is almost a 1/3, 2/3 proportion. But
It
you know,
happens.
there's reasons that we do that, certain things physiologically we do as artists, because we're all built very similarly. Okay, it's a reaction to our bodies, our brain structure, and all these things that actually dictate to us what looks good and what doesn't look good, even if we don't know why, right? And understanding how that brain is working is a big part of it. Big part of art. Sorry, I drifted off for a second. I'm not sure what to do on that. I want to do something more in here. I'm not quite sure yet. So there's an intuitive process that's involved, and I like to get really good music going. And something that I don't know what this is. This is box music.
Yeah, this is that epidemic sound, which I'm still not sure I'm
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
about, because I can't seem to filter out explicit music. If anybody uses epidemic, wants to key me in on that one, I'm sure it's in our FAQ. I just haven't bothered.
You can ask our buddy up there in Canada that. Lori Mirabelli. See what she says, if she's figured that part out. If you're doing a playlist, maybe there isn't any way to do it. I don't know.
Well, I couldn't even figure it out outside of the playlist, but whatever. Somebody said, so brave in your expression.
Oh.
I think that's part of breaking that creative block, though, right there, that comment.
Yeah, it is. And an element of that is practice. And we get it that one of the limitations, I'm doing the building thing again in the corner with the buildings. We get the limitation is art materials, because let's face it, art materials are expensive.
Yeah.
And to waste, I'm going to use the air quotes, everybody ready? Waste art materials in exploration seems like a really painful thing to do because of the monetary cost. But let me tell you, it's not wasted, because you need that practice, you need that experience, you need to be able to keep exploring the ideas and the concepts. You look at how many paintings guys like Van Gogh or Da Vinci, or I don't care who you...
Picasso did
Picasso.
2 a day. 2 a day, his whole life.
Well, and some people do that, and certainly you can, depending on what kind of paintings, you can do a lot more than that. If you're doing really detail-oriented realism paintings, super realism, you may do one painting every 6 months to a year. So it does get to be a little bit of a problem. But even those people that are doing hyper-realism, they're sketching constantly. They're drawing constantly in their sketchbooks, charcoal drawings and such. So even if you just keep a sketchbook and you're continually working in it, drawing ideas down, that helps too. Okay? So those are some major suggestions.
It looks like a plan of attack by the Huns.
Which one? Because the Huns were very good at
Strategic.
strategy, and he was no what's his name, was no slouch when it came to understanding Sun Tzu's Art of War. Now you're touching into one of my other favorites, which is martial arts.
Oh, don't even get him started.
So I'm creating a little bit of scribble in the middle just for fun, and this is the part of just letting go, but it's also a flow. You know, it's moving the wrist, and this is why having your body relaxed is important. Otherwise, it's and there's nothing wrong with that. You can have really dramatic, angular type things, but you still have to be relaxed in your body, relaxed in your mind to create that.
Attila.
Attila the Hun, yeah.
Let's see.
He was vicious, horrible, but he knew how to put a good war on.
He also knew how to have a lot of babies.
A lot of babies.
All right, hold on.
Okay, so I'm going back in with the charcoal pencil again and defining some areas, adding some a little bit better structure to it by just the shapes, using shapes that are already in there, and I'm highlighting them with the charcoal pencil.
There has to be a button on the back of this camera to zoom.
We'll use some of the finish pack to finish this off later, but right now I can't do much of it. I can do, let's see. Now these we're not offering in the art pack right
Somebody
now.
wants to know what kind of music inspires you while you paint that isn't canned crap.
Yeah. I was going to ask you guys that. What are your interests in music? Because I could use some new stuff right now. I can tell you, this morning I went back and I listened to Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald. And one of the things that inspired that was last night we were listening to the Wall-E soundtrack, right, with Hugo.
Uruguay.
Nice. So that's one of them. I like neo soul stuff. I like going back to U2, some classic rock. The celloist Yo-Yo Ma, dramatic. Danae, who's current, right?
Yeah.
One of our acquaintances out in
Find her
Ann
on
Arbor.
Spotify.
Danae on Spotify, and her friend out there in San Francisco doing some great stuff with the youth.
Dilo.
D-E,
No,
or D-Y-E.
L-O-W.
L-O-W. Dilo has some really dramatic stuff. So our music interest is really wide.
This guy says Spotify 70s road trip sends me to my childhood.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
In Espanol. Let's see. If the question is, are we speaking in Spanish? No.
So this is an art crayon?
We do like our free jazz, but when it gets too noodly, we just kind of check out.
Yeah,
Both of us kind of
jazz fusion, free jazz. I like to have a little bit of structure in it. If it's too much lack of structure.
Anthony Braxton. I'll write it down right now.
Anthony, yeah, sure. I've been looking for new stuff. Another person I like, actually, Echoes from NPR. I like that. It's fun. I get a lot of new stuff in there. Sometimes he annoys me though. John DiLiberto.
Oh, hi Tammy. Sorry, I saw Leffler in a red picture and I totally went male and I apologize for that.
There's not a lot I can do with this one. I've been looking at that, thinking about it. So I'm going to get, again, our square chalk that you're going to get in the kit. And I'm going to go back in now. I just wet it down. And it's, again, becoming a little chaotic, right? But we're creating layers. And later, we can actually define more of these layers using the finish markers. And now I can actually create some depth. I can darken some areas with the chalk.
Let's see. For anybody not speaking English, we repost.
It's so wet, it's not moving much. This is why you want good quality paper.
Twitch and they
Oh, the kits are going to come with paper too. I didn't mention that before, but we actually may have a surprise on the kind of paper that we're using. We're still working on that, actually. It's just plastic and and wet paint down here. It's actually a little bit frightening.
Hello, Philacct. I'm so bad at this. Nice to have you here.
We really need lessons in
I know.
here.
I need somebody to make me. I need to be more confident in my horrendous discretion of names. They sound like I know what I'm doing.
Any teachers out there? Because the teachers can tell you. It's too bad my mom's not around.
Balake!
Oh, don't even go to that one. A lot of people won't even know what you're referring to in that one. Oh boy. So I'm softening some of the color down using this gray wash. So this will help tone down some of the areas that I think are a little bright. Okay? And this will also shift some of that. We were talking about how do we bring a center of attention, how to bring center of attention. And that's one way to do it.
Somebody just said tricky to learn not to overwork a piece and make it mud, which we had talked about earlier today.
And I may be getting there on this one, and that's okay because of what we're doing today. Yeah, that's a hard point to stop, and sometimes, oh, my gloves bit it already, babe.
Oh.
Sometimes having somebody you trust, another artist, or a friend that you think has good taste can say something, but don't be stuck on them. Even Kristen, I'll say, nah, I don't think so. I think you're nuts. I'm going to keep going. Or she says I'm going to keep going, and I'll be like, nah, it's done. Because you do have the final say. It is your creation, right?
Yeah, but there's that fine line between when you've overworked it.
Yeah, and that's a moving target sometimes. This piece might be overworked, but even if it is, you know what I can do? I can add white.
Does he name his paintings?
Do I? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, he gets pretty grumpy with me when I accidentally rename them on the website.
Yeah, when you
He's
get
like,
the wrong...
they already had a name, darn it.
Yeah, why weren't you paying attention?
I will say that his names for paintings back when I first met him used to be like a paragraph long.
Now you're lucky to get a word out of me.
Yeah, now I'm like, it's less than a haiku. It's it's more than a word, but less than a sentence.
Yeah, I title, not always, but I try to title pretty frequently.
So what are you doing over there right now?
I'm just moving pigment off into the board that's here underneath here. This is my... So I don't like to waste paint, as some of you know, and so I actually take and have a board underneath here that collects all the paint that I can then actually use as painting later. And sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so we did that. You know what? None of us like it. We don't like this painting. So what do? Well, you can simply white it out. You can go back in, you can scrape it clean, you can wipe that piece right out of there. It doesn't have to exist.
Right out of your hair.
You can wash this right out of here. And you can add in some gesso, and you can scrape the heck out of it, get rid of the pieces.
This is part of why we stress the cotton rag paper so hard, because it'll hold up. Oh, somebody's upset.
Aww. I'm sorry. It was going somewhere, but I'm also I'm sorry about that, where that was.
Bella.
But I wanted to demonstrate the fact that don't get tied up in the piece. Stay process oriented. Did they see me or just the piece?
Hold on.
I can be like this.
Here, I'll move it.
Don't be caught up too much in the piece. You want to try, at least when you're in the process of learning, especially, be process oriented. Don't be afraid to destroy a piece, because that's part of the learning process. Push it too far. You want to know how you know when to stop is you push a piece too far. And you go, oh, you know what? I went too far. And until you do that, you're not going to know. You're not going to know what the limits are. And this is actually, Kristen, this is a really hard thing I'm having to learn with Hugo, with our son. He's 3, is allowing him the space to make the mistakes, to actually get a little bit injured, to do the stupid thing, so that he learns what his limits are in his body, his mind, and what he's doing. And in the art world, it's the same way. We have to learn when do we stop, okay? And that's practice. Again, butt and seat. Keep on working butt and seat. And I got a lot of crap on there I'll deal with later, I think. I'll just put that down there on the floor, because that's some ugly stuff.
Oh yeah, Bella, you know what? Sometimes I'll think a piece is done, and I'll be super excited about it. And then 2-3 days later, I come down the stairs, and it's a completely different piece. And most of the time, I'm like, oh, that's much better. But sometimes I'm like, no! You pulled a Wenzel!
Our really, really good friend. If you want to check out a really talented artist, we have a piece of his, and we're trying to get some more. But Jeff Wenzel, he's online on Instagram. He's got around 11,000 followers. He should have a lot more. And he's a little bit older than I am. He's been around a while. He teaches, and he does some incredible work. And he works a piece and works a piece and works a piece. And sometimes I'll write, Jeff, is that piece? I want that piece. And he'll say, oh, I already, since posting that, demolished it. So what I really want to do, Kristen, is a nice strong black line here, but I don't want to do the drip style because...
You want to be able to dip your trowel and then just line it.
Yeah, but I don't even know if I can do that. I'll tell you what. Do I have any... I don't have any black. I ran out of the black paint sticks.
Oh, no!
Good thing we ordered some more recently. For the orders of everybody else's. So this, we're not selling these currently and probably won't, but this is the Marabou Art Crayon. I think the carrier is wax.
And we do have an entire IGTV episode devoted to how to do these. Do a
Couple
string, one person
of them.
says.
So what I'm concerned about is a strong black line here.
Dipping a string and then just dropping it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too. So this is going to be... I'm really using up some crayon now. I'm pushing very hard to make sure that I've got a nice, clean, sharp line out of that crayon. Now we've created something entirely different and new. And this is kind of like Bischoff, Elmer Bischoff, which is another really great artist. He's passed away since. Check him out, though, if you can. Elmer Bischoff. What is it? B-I-S?
I don't actually know.
C-H-O-F-F, I think. Now, I know a lot of you might have, some of you were disappointed at what I did, but I can see this piece now as having tons of layers, and as it dries, it's going to be very, very interesting.
I'm getting a shim for this.
No, it's just loose. It's got loose. Is that side thing tight?
No, it's this.
Yeah, I know.
It's this joint.
Yeah, I'll show you later. Hey, what do you expect? The thing's 50 years old. It's my dad's. So that one line, I think, did what I needed to do. And then we have the layers, all the other layers that we built up coming through. And we've created a sense of depth, a sense of time, a sense of narrative by creating what's down in there. Oh, there's some marks. What is that mark? And so forth. So that's where that layering really comes into play. And you'll hear a lot of my compatriots that stress that as well when it comes to layering. So I'm just cleaning off the edge here on my board. Ooh, I want to go play with that. Might be time to do another crayon video.
I don't know, that last one didn't do too great.
Go check it. Where is that one at? That's on
IGTV and YouTube.
So, I just tore the paper a little bit.
Marabou Art Crayon demo. It's languishing.
So this is why you want as good a quality paper as you can get, because the fact of the matter is it can tear really easily. I just tore that corner a little bit. So as this dries, I need to get it off of here and somewhere where it can dry and not stick to the board. So that piece is definitely done because the paper is actually dissolving.
Well, we've definitely hit our hour mark.
Did we hit our hour? Okay.
And I hear a lot of insanity upstairs.
Yeah, we got to go rescue Kristen's mom and our 18-year-old.
Yes,
so,
we'll cut it and glue it later. That's right.
That's right. Yeah, we'll paste We'll fix it in the post app. Posted. Oh, see, it still came through. Good quality rubber gloves. You gotta get them. These are really cheap ones. Be well, everybody. Be kind to each other. Keep painting. Check us out. If I don't go to the advanced training on Saturday, I will be here Saturday morning live, and we'll talk about some finishing techniques. And I might have a new technique I'm going to play with that I haven't even done yet. Kristen doesn't even know about it, although she probably is suspicious because she saw me doing research recently.
I keep track of the family's research habits.
Anyway, is that it?
That's it.
Okay, so if you're interested in
sign up for the email.
Number one, davidaustingallery.com. You can see all the links to the various social media. If you're interested in purchasing some of our signature series art supplies that we're going to be coming out, the things that you see me use often, please get on the email that she will post after we shut down here. It'll take a few minutes for her to get that posted with the recorded version of today's live session. And we'll be shipping those out within about 30 days because of COVID and shipping restrictions. The other thing then, what is it? I don't know. I lost it. I'm so tired. This is what happens when you get up. You know, some of you that follow me closely know I get up super early and work. So by now I'm like zonked. That's it.
That's it.
I don't have anything else.
No, toodles.
Stay in touch, everybody. Take care. Be kind to each other. And we'll see you soon. Keep on painting. Bye-bye now. See ya. I don't even have the energy to run off stage today.